I will check right after we do this interview, but it should be fine. Can you guys first start by saying and spelling your names for me? You guys can just go down the line if you want to start.
Rebecca Erkeline, Ercoline.
Okay, and then what is your year and then your major?
I am an elementary ed with a concentration in special education, and I'm in my 4th year.
Okay.
Kayla Borton, Kayla Borton, senior, early childhood education.
Caitlin Allen, Kateilyn Allen, and I'm early childhood senior.
Okay. So I'm here today because there is this national debate going on at the national level about the idea of arming teachers. I guess first off, can you guys tell me why you wanted to go into education? It doesn't matter. You guys can all answer it. You only one can answer. It's up to you guys. What made you want to pursue teaching?
Because I think the most valuable thing we have in this world is our education, and it takes us everywhere.
I didn't know I wanted to go into education until I became a mom, and I realized that children are the future, and like for me, I would want me to be my son's teacher, but so I figured I would be the best bet to be a teacher.
I kind of always knew I wanted to be a teacher. Even when I was really little, I would always play school. And in high school, I got to cadet teach with my kindergarten teacher, and I absolutely loved it. And I've always known that's what I wanted to do.
Okay, so kind of a mix of, you wanted to do it, didn't know if you wanted to do it. Once you guys started pursuing teaching, I guess, how has that experience been like? What's that been like?
Life-changing.
It's different than what you think because education is totally different from when I was a child, but you see the world in a whole new perspective when you're a teacher than when you're a student. So it's life-changing.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Going in the classroom and starting on like lesson 1 of something that the kids have never even heard of before, and then watching them get it, it's the best.
See, unlike you, I don't have any children of my own yet, but children are brilliant. And I think there's nothing better than getting to watch them learn something new or make those connections, and they want to keep moving forward, and that's so cool.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I was a gymnastics teacher for a while. Children definitely are like the smartest things like in the world. It blows my mind. But I guess now you have this national debate going on about how to keep our children safe in their schools, because schools should be a place where they should be able to go and be able to return home. At least that's how a lot of people feel. I guess, can you just start by explaining your views on all these shootings that we see happening in our school over the past few years? I guess just talk to me about that and how you see it through the eyes of an educator.
I think it's tragic. I think, especially when the shooter is an angry, lost student, that's the greatest loss. This student needed help. There was, whether it be through resources or they slipped through the cracks somewhere, and all I want to do is help them so that someone else doesn't turn on them.
The underlying issue is mental health. These kids need help. They need programs implemented in schools that will help them with their mental issues. But in the same time, teachers need to be able to defend against school shooters, because nobody in their right mind goes into a school and shoots up a school. Nobody. They are mentally ill if they're doing this, and we need programs that help them, but teachers also need to be able to defend against them. Like, as a teacher and as a parent, I would feel more comfortable if my son's teacher could defend against a school shooter than just laying on the ground. And so.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely terrifying. Every classroom I go into, I always think about this, and I'm like, what would I do if we were in that situation? Where would we hide? What would I do with the kids? And
like, obviously, we would lay down our lives for our students, but there's only so much you can do with just your body. We need to be able to defend against that. If somebody comes in with a gun, what is our body going to be able to do to stop that? Nothing. They're going to get right through us and then go right into our students.
As teachers, we're like temporary parents. While your students are with you, you're like their parent, and it's your job to protect them.
Yes.
I think hindsight is a really incredible thing, and in the moment, it would be amazing to be able to go over to the locked drawer in my desk and pull out a gun and fight off whoever is coming into my classroom. But an example I can make, I got into a car accident last spring, and in those 2 seconds right before impact, I thought, why didn't I turn the other way? What could I have done differently? And I just, there may be circumstances where you can defend, but you don't know how to react in that moment. And I don't feel capable of wielding a gun. I don't want to. I want to arm my students with knowledge, not more weapons.
And that being said, I don't think everybody should not every teacher should carry a gun. I think that there should be psychological evaluations done, and I also think that the teachers that are going to carry a gun should undertake rigorous courses so they know how to handle a gun. They know what to do in stressful situations. Not just everybody who walks into a school can own a gun and carry it on campus. Like, I don't agree with that either.
Yeah, not every teacher is going to feel comfortable with it, but if I had the choice, I would want to protect my students any way I could, and I would feel better knowing that I would have a gun in my classroom to help them.
Okay.
Me too.
I guess you guys kind of started getting into my next question. I guess, can you just each state your opinion on whether or not you feel comfortable owning a gun and being armed as a teacher? You know, whether or not you're comfortable with that idea, and I guess kind of just elaborate as to why you believe that. So if you want to go ahead and start, and then we'll work our way.
I do not want to have a gun in my classroom. I would rather have glass, bulletproof glass or doors that lock from the inside, anything, but I don't want to carry a gun, and it's because they don't make me feel safer, and that's just not my philosophy.
In my home, we do own guns. I have a lifetime permit. I carry wherever it is legal to carry, so I am for guns.
And I think any teacher who feels comfortable to carry a gun and they feel like they could protect their students with it, I think that would be a great opportunity for teachers.
Okay. So you guys not only are studying to become teachers, you guys are also students still, being an undergraduate student. Talk to me about what the conversation is like in your classes about this debate, and what are you guys talking about?
I think this was mentioned earlier, but I shouldn't have to go into my classroom and think, where am I going to hide them? What kid will I hide in this cabinet? How can I block the door? I mean, it shouldn't be a conversation, but it is. And more than anything, it's just talking about what can we do? Where are we going to go from here?
I think in our classroom, it's not so much a gun issue, it's a mental health issue. We need to focus on that aspect more than the whole gun aspect.
I definitely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've kind of mentioned the mental health aspect. I guess as far as from an educator's standpoint, do you think there's enough being done to help the students who are in our schools at this point?
No, do not believe so.
What do you think could be, I guess, why do you think that, and then what do you think we need more of to help those students?
Some schools either have one counselor or they have no counselors. There's just not programs implemented in the schools to help these kids that need help. Some kids don't even have food. There are so many more issues that go into it, and funding, we need to go to those issues, and they're not being met either.
Yeah, we need those resources. We need more counselors, more social workers, more volunteers, people who want, the well-being of these kids. They think it matters.
I agree, but parents are also the first teacher, and so it all starts at home.
Mm-hmm.
Parents have to know your child and recognize when
things
different.
Yeah, when anything is different, and then parents need to communicate with their teachers when something is off, and teachers need to communicate with parents as well. There's just not the communication in the schools like there needs to be.
But when you can't control that, like, what do we do from our standpoint? Just as a teacher, like, we have to reach out to them somehow, even if parents don't want to be involved, because
Yeah.
we know there's a lot out there.
Yeah, I guess that was kind of my follow-up question to that. I mean, not all parents do want to, recognize those signs and whatnot. I mean, I guess as a teacher, obviously you guys have a classroom full of 25, 30 students, it's hard to always focus on one student and recognize the signs in one student, I guess. How do you balance that? Or try to balance that?
You need help. The teachers need help in the classrooms. There needs to be more of a support system in the schools, in the classroom, communicating with your students. One person cannot do it all.
I mean, it's impossible to bridge all the gaps, but creating community, however you can, reach out and keep communication open and fluid.
Yeah, just building relationships with your students. You have to find a way. Even if it's through your lessons, through the books you read, you have to find what their interests are and get to know your students on a personal level.
Make them feel loved and important every day.
I have remind me of your name again, I'm sorry.
Kayla?
Kayla. Okay, Kayla, I have a specific question for you because I find it interesting. Not only are you a teacher, but you're also a mom. I guess from your role as both, do you think that kind of brings a unique perspective that you have to this whole situation?
I think it does sometimes because, and not just necessarily because everybody loves children. And when you go into a field of education, you don't go into it because you don't love children. You go into it because you do. I feel like I have a connection because I have my son, and he just changes how I look at education. I think all the time, like, what would I do to make the education system better for him? And so, yeah.
Your voice is cracking.
No, I mean, that's your son, that's your baby,
That is my baby, and I wish that other parents and teachers would, like, love their kids the way I love mine. And I think the world would be a better place if everybody just loved their kids and treated them the way they should.
I guess my next question, you kind of brought this up. Teachers are seen as the parent to these children outside of the homes, I guess. Can you talk a little bit about that? I mean, that's a big responsibility that teachers have.
Yeah, teachers are like the only role model well, not the only role model, but the temporary role model at school. They're the adult that the kid looks to. I mean, you're there to make sure they're safe and that they're learning and that they're doing everything they're supposed to do. They're just like a parent at school.
Okay. I had one last question. I forgot all my notes in my course. Dang it. I'm trying to go off of memory right now. I guess my last question, I cannot remember it right now. I guess let me ask this. Do you guys have anything else that you would like to add to, talk about that you don't think I've asked yet?
No, what do you think? I guess a good thing to ask is, I mean, this is all about children. This is all about our students. How would our students feel? Are we telling them? Do they know that we're armed if we are? Like, their opinion matters to me, and I would want to know how my students would feel. Would it make them feel safer? Would it make them afraid of me? I think that's a big question, and that should be part of the discussion overall.
I cannot think of the last question I wanted to ask. I'm so sorry about that. But if you guys don't have anything else you want to